And of course, Macau still to go. And the championship is wide open. And when you look at the front couple of rows of the grid, you can understand why. Alan Manu is on pole. He's on board the Chevrolet. Next to him, it's James Thompson in the Alfa Romeo. Yes, and if you're wondering about the unfamiliar look here, we have a certain Mr. Turkington who's drafted in from the British Touring Car Championship. He's a neutral car, if you like, but he has been out there and putting in all of the laps he possibly could, more than anybody else, and he's found himself leading off row 2. Alongside him is Thiago Montero, and on 3 we have Muller and Cortals. An amazing array of talent out there. There are the weights for you, penalty weights being carried at the moment by those in the lead of the championship. Augusto Farfus is on 60, so is Andy Primo, Jörg Muller as well from the BMWs. Then we have Ivan Muller, of course, on 60, along with Gabriele Tarquini. James Thompson carrying 55. Well, it's, as you know, Mr. Mosley has been here as well. Maybe you don't. Gracing the FIA World Touring Car Championship as it is, and enjoying some of the scenes that have been set for buyers over the weekend.
So far, so good, and they've done an excellent job expanding it into a more worldwide series. So, for example, Japan next year and other countries coming in. So we're really very optimistic. It's making it into a proper world championship.
Oh, Mr. Mosley always tends to drop in. He's been enjoying it. And, of course, the diesels have been up there amongst the vanguard of the winners.
Diesel versus
and he
petrol
appreciates it.
The petrol engines are becoming closer and closer to diesel as far as efficiency is concerned. The future engines are really probably going to be on a par. So then it's a question of the barrel of oil. Some of it has to be both diesel and petrol to be used economically. So there is room for both. But it's not one of the technologies that we necessarily should pursue very strongly. It's more getting more work from a given amount of energy. That's the key to the future, and of course that applies whatever fuel you use.
And we suspect, and many do, that other manufacturers will pick up the diesels in the future.
And they will see some excellent racing because the cars are so close. You get from this morning's practice something like 15 cars in less than a second. Well, if that goes on, that makes for wonderful racing. So I think the people who are coming here are good judges.
Well, a good judge of good sport, and we're hoping for some good racing later on today. So the FIA very much involved, keeping an eye on the World Touring Car Championship, as they do with so much of motorsport throughout the world. And having Max Mosley along here kind of gives it a stamp of approval. If you want other approval, look at the fans who've turned out here. Tremendous in their droves. And you can just about get closer than any other form of motorsport. You can get to the drivers, you can have a look at the vehicles, and you can get some other interesting sights around the circuit as well. It's a tremendous ambience, and no better venue, in many people's opinions, exists. Brands Hatch, wonderful amphitheatre, a real cauldron, and when they head up to Paddock Hill for the first time, just watch out for it. David, a good day in prospect for sure.
Yes, and Chevrolet looking to move further up the points table. You can see there Nicola Larini, and he's starting a little bit further back down the list. He's starting down in 15th, and that's not what he's used to. He has won a race already this year, so he'll be looking to move slightly further up. But you can see now inside the various cars what it looks like in there, but it's all stripped out to be as light as possible, having the driver sitting in the perfect position for him to try and help the weight distribution of the car. Steering columns coming up towards them, detachable steering wheels, gear levers either like the BMW, which is a normal gear lever like a car which is a H pattern gearbox, or the front wheel drive cars have got the sequential change gearboxes. Now then, we talked about being on the second row of the grid, Colin Turkington. He has a BMW that normally races in the British Touring Car Championship, and unlike the rest of the BMWs, he actually has a sequential change gearbox. Now he's got a special license to come and compete here in his home round of the World Championship, but because his car does not match the rules and regulations completely for the World Touring Car Championship, they are taking him, or calling him, a transparent car. He is welcome to come along, welcome to participate, but he will not be able to score any points whatsoever. Now, those of you who follow the World Touring Car Championship will know that on the second race we will have the top 8 reversed of the finishers in the first race. Now then, the question was asked, well, what happens if one of these invitees, transparent cars, finish in the top 8 of the first race? Well, the FIA have made a ruling on that, and it will be, if there's a transparent car in the top 8, then it will be the top 9 which will be turned around on the grid. So always 8 World Touring Car Championship contenders will be turned around. So if Colin Turkington does finish in the top 8, there will actually be 9 cars turned around for the second race.
So there you have it. Turkington, though, yesterday putting in so many more laps than anybody else. It was the same in free. We're kind of worried that he was going to overcook his tyres, so to speak, just put too much wear on them ahead of race day. Didn't seem too bothered about it, and the Ultimate is very, very relaxed. Andy Prio, however, is, well, a little bit agitated, you may have guessed, because of his qualifying position. Not overly pleased with the way that one finished. Andy down qualifying in 10th place, and so he's got an awful lot of work to do. It may well be that his focus lies on the second race after the spin around of those top 9 or 8 if Turkington doesn't make it into the lead 8 group. I think possibly Colin Turkington will be up there. He's going to be in a different machine to head off to Macau, but he's sponsored by he brings his RAC badged up machine. You'll see it in a moment. But plenty of British interest here. Rob Huff is also here. He's the second placed of the Chevrolets, Lassettis. Of course, Alan Manu is on pole, and Alan, well, causing something of a surprise, not least to James Thompson, who is sharing the front row with him with his Alpha 156. But Rob Huff, well, he can certainly be a contender, and he will be very, very pleased that he's qualified ahead of Andy Prio and some other very, very big names, including, of course, Augusto Farfus and the rest.
You can see just how busy the start line actually is there. Good shot underneath the car. You see how flat the floor is on these cars to try and get the aerodynamics to work wherever possible. Now then, the floor on the Seat we've just been looking at is flatter than everybody else, because it's one of the rule breaks that they've been given to try and help the speed of their cars to have a flat floor, and that will really come into its own when they get to the next meeting at Monza, which is a really, really fast circuit, the fastest circuit that the World Touring Car Championship go to, and when they arrive there, that flat floor will pay dividends to the Seat cars. But round this twisty Brands Hatch circuit here in Kent, I have to say that it's all about the driver more than anything else, because you really have to be very good round here to be able to cope with the turns.
Well, it can catch you out. Andy Prio, of course, has been caught out a couple of times. He's never managed to win here. There we have a look at Jörg Müller getting into his BMW. He's also qualifying further back than he would have liked, most certainly. He's back on row 4, just behind. He'll be starting his near namesake Ivan Muller, who's in the Seat and waiting to try and eat up Colin Turkington if he possibly can. Don't forget, it's going to be a rolling start for the first race, and then we will have a grid for the second. So if the BMWs do finish in the top 8 but out off the podium, you can certainly expect them to perhaps get an advantage when it comes off the grid, because of that rear-wheel drive factor. But it is a rolling start at the beginning, and the front-wheel drivers have really shown how they can motor out there. Cortals already waiting to go off, and I think, well, just a thumbs up, and hardly surprising. Ivan Buller, then, one of those certainly that should be putting as amongst the favourites to do well in this opening race. It's very, very hard to call, though, isn't it, David, this one? There's such a mix out front, such a mix of, I'm not going to say a mix of talent, because they're all clearly very, very talented, but a mix of machinery on a very, very tough to call course.
It is, and it's great to have so many manufacturers right at the front end of this grid. So really good for all the different manufacturers out there. In case you're wondering what they're doing and why the car's suddenly going down onto the ground, just before the race starts, the cars have to be on the ground 5 minutes before the race starts. Before that, they're up on their jack stands, and the big wraparound around the tyre thing is a tyre warmer. It's there to try and keep the tyre as warm as possible before they start. Obviously, the warmer it is, the more grip it has, and that's why quite often when you see them going off from the start line, they will be weaving around to try and make sure that they keep the tyres, or heating the tyres as much as possible. But various rules around, and so everyone turns up with their little trolleys with a generator on to be able to power the blankets for the tyre warmers. Once all that's done, you can see them there pushing away their tyre trolleys with their generators and their spare tyres. And left on the grid is the cars with usually one mechanic with a jump start battery, an extra battery just to make sure the car starts. And just before the grid is cleared, the drivers will start their cars, then the one mechanic that is left will leave the grid, and will leave the grid completely clear. So as you look down there, you can see the various marshals with their orange suits on, and one mechanic per car. Alan Menu we're looking at in there, the man sitting there on pole position, and obviously a circuit he knows extremely well, having lived and raced over here for some 15 years or more.
Yeah, lives out towards Oxfordshire, always complaining that he's not regarded as a true Brit. Yeah, hardly surprising, Alan, but nonetheless, he said the press kind of ignore the fact that he's here and lives here and knows the circuit, and this is him setting his pole time. It was a supreme effort, you have to say. The yellow flags came out to kind of stymie James Thompson, who'd gone out there in the Alfa Romeo 156 and set a benchmark time for everybody. Alan Menu managed to snatch it by the narrowest of margins, and when you know that less than half a second covered the top 12, maybe you can understand why there's some very big names further down. Just a little hats off and a head up to Thiago Monteiro, lead Seat, and just watch him as well from the rolling start. He's very, very experienced, and of course he starts alongside the new boy here. I just can't wait to see how Colin Turkington, the Ultimate, manages at the off here. It's going to be tremendous to see. He's got a lot on his shoulders. He really wants to shine, doesn't he, David?
He really does. He's come along as the local boy, and not expected to do all that terribly well, and even he said he's a lot further up grid than what he was expecting, but thoroughly enjoying being there, and he really wants to stay there towards the end of the race.
So just to recap, there is your grid for you. Rob Huff qualifying in 9th place. He starts alongside Andy Prio, Gabriele Tarquini and Portero are back there as well. A little bit of chops and changes at the back due to sanctions that were handed out. The biggest sufferer was perhaps Jourdain. He's been sent to the back for various infringements, and Zanardi, of course, he's kind of running out of favours really at the back there. So Jourdain is our man at the back once again for you. Out front, it's Menu on top with Thompson alongside him, Turkington and Thiago Monteiro on 2, Muller, Ivan Muller and Cortals on 3, with Jörg Muller and Genet next to him on 4. And this is your look at the circuit. When they come by, when we are racing, that will be at full tilt, don't forget, and they go straight into Paddock Hill, down towards Druids, and this is one heck of a loop. You suddenly lose the weight of the car after the compression suddenly gets very, very light. You've got to take Druids very, very carefully indeed. That's if you haven't lost it at Paddock. Then it's down to Graham Hill, around to Surtees, and then you've got Pilgrim's Drop, Hawthorne, Westfield, and the rest of it. It really is one hell of a mix we're going to have right from the off. Can't wait for your company after that. We're going to take a short break right now, or some of you are. We'll be back in a moment. Brands Hatch, they're just putting some heat in the tyres. The pace car is on there. We will have a rolling start when we are ready to do so. It's Alan Menu who's on pole with James Thompson's Alfa Romeo. Next to him, Colin Turkington, the visitor in the bright orange RAC-sponsored British touring car machine. It is invisible as far as the scoring is concerned, but he won't be concerned about that. He wants to win races, and look at them. They're all ready and lined up. The lights are off. That is the pace car. It's going to leave us in a moment. Who will it be that takes advantage of the rolling start? Surely the front-wheel drives have got something on them, and I can tell you that Turkington already has started following the leaders here. They're getting the slingshot, and round they come, and look, nicely bunched, and away they go. Here they come round to the front. It's all down to Menu here. Will they get it? Here's the light. They've got a rolling start, but it's almost static here. There's the board and away and go. Oh, and straight away Cortals takes a look around the outside. He wants a piece of this, and they scream across the line. Well, don't forget 3 into 1 won't go around Paddock Hill, and here they come for the first time, and around they go. It's safe so far so good. 3 side by side, and we've lost one into the gravel already. A little bit of contact, nightmare stuff, and around they come up over the top of Druids. Clouds of dust, and I just hope that's not Rob Huff, but I think it might well be. Let's take a look in a moment. I think Huff or Larini, we're just waiting to see. The 6th car of Huff is still involved, thank goodness, and around they come, and in fact Huff's making a great move. He's up into about 6th place at the moment. Out at the top of the field, it's Alan Menu who's held on to this. Thompson's in a great position as well. Turkington's dropped 1 position to Genet, who got a better jump on him right at the start, but Turkington more than capable of getting back in this one. Ivan Muller in 5th place here ahead of Cortals.
And the guy stretching the legs now out through the back of the circuit, the really fast bit, and they can see Turkington coming back up into 4th place. But the guy who made the big move was car number 9. Marc Genet. He came from further back. He managed to get that car really to go well across the line.
And safety car is out. They're going to collect them, David. They're going to collect them. There is a car in two cars in a dangerous position down there. They are just on the approach to Druids on the uphill section, and they will be collected. The safety car is out, and the race effectively neutralised just for now.
And the other thing we've seen right at the very beginning, when these guys are working their way back, they've now all slowed down. The yellow flags are being waved, the safety car boards are out, so they know what's happening, and no doubt their teams will have been on the radio to tell them. So they're coming around nice and slowly, knowing that somewhere ahead of them on this pit straight they will find the safety car. Now then, Tiago Monteiro, the man who went into the pits rather than taking the start. We don't know why he went into the pits, but there he is, sitting at the pit exit waiting to come out. He will not be allowed out until all these cars have come past, and he will join the back, so he'll be one lap down. We don't know why Monteiro ended up in the pit lane, but he was on the second row of the grid. He was qualified fourth. Really unfortunate, but the reason we're here we are at the start again. Green it goes. And look at that, Genet on the outside, sinks the foot into it, round the outside, drove straight past the independent of Pierre-Yves Cortals, and moved himself right up there and into third place. And that was a fantastic start. Look at him going right around the outside, round the outside of Colin Tuckerton as well in that orange car. But further back, there's a bit of an incident. BMW spins. Car number 2, Jörg Müller. Oh dear, I hadn't realised it was him, but off with him went Nicola Larini, and taking evasive action, ended up on the gravel as well, was the Russian car with the GR Racer Seat. That's what happened. Darquini got into the side of Jörg Müller, and that's what sent Jörg off, and that's what started the whole series off. So you can see there the team managers and the various teams. That's Charlie Lamb from BMW, Jörg Müller's boss, and that's the Chevrolet guys with Eric Neve there with the bow tie on. The bow tie they wear because they are on pole position. If they have a win, they'll put on a bow tie. If they get pole position, they'll put on a bow tie. So whenever you see the Chevrolet boys with the bow tie, that's the reason for it.
That's the reason why.
Now we see the big dent in the side, both sides, because that's the left-hand side of the BMW car number 2, Jörg Müller. He's obviously got a dent in the other side where Tarquini got into him before he pushed him wide into somebody else and then went off, and that into somebody else I think would be Nicola Larini, who will be a very, very disappointed little Italian gentleman.
Very, very much so. Larini is still beached. They're dealing with the car at the moment, and the grab vehicle is there. Krylov is also in exactly the same position. He's down there, standing in, I have to say, for the Russian youngster Timur Sredniov, who couldn't get his passport sorted out in time for this event. Something to do with officialdom. We don't know why. There we are. So 2 laps have already been completed, albeit we didn't actually manage to get one done before the safety car came out. And in case you're only just joining us, it is because Jörg Müller got into a little bit of a tussle. He did a full 360, managed to continue in the number 2 BMW, but unfortunately for Larini in the Chevrolet and Krylov in the Seat, they are being rescued. As you see at the moment, there is Krylov's green car being pulled out, as you saw on your screens. So, David, this is exactly what the drivers don't want. You don't want too much of this. You're just keen to get on with it, but the man who's probably going to feel most pleased with himself has to be Genet after that tremendous start.
That was a fantastic start. The minute the lights turned to green, he accelerated away. Now remember, Marc Genet has a diesel car. It's a diesel Seat. It's not a petrol like the rest of them. There are only 2 diesel cars in the race. One is Marc Genet, the other is Ivan Müller. And Marc Genet was the one who really made it count. Now then, I actually spoke to Seat earlier on today to discover that that turbo diesel TDI that they have that's out there runs 1.6 bar boost pressure. To if that means something to the technical people, they've got a maximum RPM of 5,000, and they reckon they've got around about 280 horsepower. And horsepower in a diesel isn't the big thing. It's all about the torque.
Well, that was on display, wasn't it?
450 newton meters of torque at 2,500 RPM.
Fabulous for a rolling start.
And that just made such a difference.
Well, Jenny, it certainly did, and Müller as well. There's Nicola Larini already beached, and it looks like his opening race is done. They've flattened the cars against the wall. I think they've regarded that as being as a reasonable, safe position. It doesn't look like they're going to attempt to actually move them any further, David. That looks a bit dangerous to me.
And that's our young Russian, who's or older Russian, I should say, who's walking away. I think he just simply took evasive action, ended up in the gravel, tried to drive through and couldn't get out the other side. There's Hugh de Shaunac, the guy who runs two of the Seat cars. Are they going to go this time?
So round they come. They've decided that the cars are in a safe enough position, and away they go. They are already racing, and Menu it is ahead of Turkington, and Genio got that tremendous start. Let's see what he's got underneath his bonnet here. As far as the TDI is concerned, he's having a look. So is Tomo. They're going to keep it sensible here just for the time being, and there are the beach cars. They've made them as safe as possible. Can't see whether there's a local yellow being waved for the time being in that area, but we will wait and see. Trying to keep Paddock Hill as clean and as safe as possible. Down they come around Druids through Graham Hill, and now they head off towards Surtees, and just look at that. They're all bunched up and they're just holding behind Turkington at the moment. He looks to be a little bit of a slower car, and the 12 makes a go, and it's Ivan Muller having a crack at him here, trying to look round the outside, can't quite make it stick, kicks down on the inside. Very, very difficult to judge that particular bend into Surtees. It's the transition point from the short track to the long. It is the long track as they head out towards the woods, and he's having another crack here, and the Turk perhaps is going to get caught here. It certainly looks like it, and he's made it stick here. The 12 car of Ivan Muller has got a spot. No, he hasn't. Door slammed shut. Suddenly laid on the brakes from Turkington. Superb. Everything he learned yesterday in the qualifying and also in the free. So many laps he put in, and he's using all that knowledge right here, right now.
Yeah, he's got very much the car that worked really well. He knows the circuit well, and he really is just concentrating on trying to stay with the car in front. Jory Genet with the diesel Seat, keep in front of the car behind. Number 12, Ivan Muller with a diesel Seat, and right behind that the Monroe shock absorber car of Pierre-Yves Cortal, who's the first of the independent cars in this championship. The rest of them at the front here being the works cars, with the exception of a Team RAC car, Colin Turkington, only here for the weekend because he is British, because this is the British round of the World Championship. He is the transparent car, the car that doesn't score any points but does go racing, and making a very good job of it indeed. And round Paddock Hill Bend to go again. There we are, the number 23 car of Pierre-Yves Cortal's in 6th place. Rob Hoff in 7th place, good place to be. Andy Prio up to 8th. That's where he needs to be. He needs to finish in 8th place in this race in order to make sure that he is in pole position for the start of the next race.
Down they come, streaming past us once again on the back straight of the short circuit as they head off into the countryside once more. The woodlands beckoning them as they come through. Big lock-up. I think it was from Cortals going into Surtees there as they come back up over the rise and head back out to the country once more. Little bunch starting to form itself with a slower car, just holding them up at the moment. But Alain Menu has just posted the fastest lap so far in this race, a 1:34.331. But Thompson is all over the back of him at the moment and was faster in the final sector of that one. Tremendous racing here at Brands Hatch. Just absolutely adore this track here. Lovely little move coming through here. See, it's just swapping spots here, and a terrific one, making it stick. Robert Calciago, absolutely superb. One of those privateer racers out there who's doing so well in the old privateer championship as well, David.
Yeah, he is. Roberto's been really unlucky with some of the incidents he's been involved in, but he was racing there against Tom Cornell in the orange Seat, the GR Asia car. But across the line come the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars back to Andy Prio before there's a gap then back a little bit to Alex Potero in 9th place. But it's the first 8 that really matter. These are the 8 that will be on the front of the grid for the next race, but in reverse order. But James Thompson sticking to the back bumper of Alain Menu. James knows he's got a quicker car, but the problem is getting past. You know, these cars are very, very evenly matched, and you just haven't got to make a mistake. Slightest mistake, James Thompson will be past, and I'm pretty sure he'll be able to drive away. But in the meantime, he is still there. But you can see all the cars behind using all the road, a little bit of grass as well as they're coming out of Graham Hill Bend towards Surtees we're looking at.
Well, really putting the pressure on here. Stefano D'Aste really wants a way through here. Will he finally get past Ragnoni? We'll have to wait and see. They're really wrestling each other for the time being, and as they come up again against one of these rises round, they'll be back within sight of everybody in just a few moments' time. And look at this, using all of it, and you can see just how much pressure Menu is under. Just got it a little bit too wide there over the rumbles. Didn't look overly comfortable. He's got to find the shortest way through naturally enough, but Thompson is there and waiting to pounce, and you just feel that he's got something that he's waiting to use here. 6 out of the 16 completed, and round they come again through into the woodland. Tremendous stuff on board with Ivan Muller here, and that's Turkington in front of him. He hasn't managed to pose another challenge. I think Turkington's wise to him and knows that he has to step it up when it comes to race day. That's what he's doing now. Round they come again, onto the start-finish straight. Bang, 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 across the line, and it's Manu here, and he's just starting to pull ever so slightly away from Tomo here as they come back again through the timing gates and up towards Druids. They fly again, and just looking at that side, it's absolutely tremendous. Wonderful on-board camera work here. Bunched up tight together. Turkington's just thinking about having a look at Jenny now. This is ambitious. Fantastic stuff. Down they come through Graham Hill again and off towards Surtees, and he's got a good run here. The Turk's got a fantastic run. He's quickest onto the tarmac. Will he get him this time? Is he near enough to do anything coming out of this one? He's having a look on the inside. He's very, very close. There's a number of options as you come off this, and Turkington knows this track very well indeed. Jenny also wise to him, just shuts the door on him momentarily. That was a super job by him.
And because of the line that Jordi Genet took, he was able to just slow up Colin Turkington, and having slowed him up, then that left him very much under pressure from Ivan Muller behind. But the bumper cam we seen earlier on was from Augusto Farfus's car. He's down in 11th place, and he was following Gabriele Tarquini trying to get up there. But look now just how close.
Wow.
Turkington's having to fight off Ivan Muller, all because of Genet slowing him down right in the middle of the Surtees corner. And now a lap earlier than this, you could see Turkington was actually very much on the back of Jordi Genet in third place and looking for a possibility to overtake. But how quickly that can change in one lap. Queued up behind him all the way back to 8th place in a solid queue. 8th place, we keep saying again, Andy Prio, who's in 8th, he needs to finish there in order to be on the front row for the next race. 7th place, Rob Huff.
Round they come again, and the 12 cars having another look here. Ivan Muller wants a piece. Look at this. Now this is crucial coming off paddock. You've got to string these all together. You've got to do paddock, Druids and Graham Hill absolutely spot on. Otherwise you're going to be in bother here. And I tell you what, Turkington is under pressure here. Look at the pressure he's been put under as they come screaming down here round through Graham Hill. Now what Turkington tried to do just a moment ago, will he have done to him? No, just not quite close enough, Ivan Muller, to make it stick this time. So there we are around Surtees. You can see that when he's left on his own, Colin Turkington certainly has a very good car, and he can just pull away that little bit from Ivan Muller. But what he needs to do now is pick himself up back onto the back of that third place car. A little bit more difficult. They've got a little bit of a gap now between 3rd and 4th, but 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th there, Rob Huff in car number 6, and right behind that Andy Prio with the BMW. And that's the only BMW up at the front is Andy Prio is the first of the BMWs. Colin Turkington, of course, orange one. I keep forgetting because he's just arrived for this weekend, and I keep thinking about all the people who's been there all year long, and but not allowed to score points because his car isn't 100% FIA homologated. It has a change that it normally runs for the British Touring Car Championship, which will not allow it to score points in the World Touring Car Championship. No wonder you didn't see it, because it's described as an invisible car as far as the points are concerned.
Transparent is the word the FIA used, but it doesn't look transparent at the moment. Bright orange, there it is, pulling away from Ivan Muller just a little bit. He's got really going well, is Colin, and you have to say he's showing exceptionally well here. Now what he needs to do is do really well here. There's a possibility of him going to Macau as well. If he can do well there, what he needs to do is get one of these other manufacturers to pick him up and say, we like what you did, come and drive our car.
Well, they've extended it to 16 laps from the 14, which is an ideal thing, to be honest, because we had so much behind the safety car early on, and that's exactly what you want. And look at this, so much pressure being absolutely heaped on here, and it's Genet that is starting the attack, and the Turk just lights it up at the back there. He's just the smoke pouring off his tyres. You didn't quite see it, but just as they got into Surtees, as we were waiting for them to come over the rise there, he's clearly on it, absolutely on it, and just foxing everyone behind him at the moment, as well as those in front perhaps. Tell you, he's having a great race here, Rob Huff. He's kept it right where he needs to, and he is stalking Rob Huff. He is intending. You can see, just watch as they come round here. Rob Huff, just keep your eyes on him, and well, he's just backed off ever so slightly there, concerned about who is behind him, and it's the number 1 of Andy Prio, so he's got to have his hand full. He's suddenly recognising exactly what he's got to deal with here, David.
Yeah, he's watching what's happening in front of him and watching his mirrors as well, because he doesn't want to go back down to 8th if he can help it. He would like to score 2 points and still be on the front row for the next race. So Rob Huff very much following Pierre-Yves Cortals in front of the independent guy in the Seat with the Munro shock absorber sponsorship on the car there. But looking back from Rob Huff's car, You can see there, back to that car there, Andy Prio's car in 7th and 8th place, and these are the guys that are looking to be on the front row for the next race. When they have a standing start, if you can have a BMW on the front row, believe me, they'll be first in the first corner. But there we are, Colin Turkington back up to the front three. I have to say, he is really motoring. And I'm just looking, yeah, he had the fastest lap last time round. And he's
clearly setting himself up here, David.
Second fastest lap of the race so far.
Yeah, he's clearly having a go at Jenny here, and Jenny's just holding him back, doing exactly what he did before, just kind of trying to slow the door and put him into the clutches of those further behind. It's perfect strategy as far as Jenny's concerned. Hugely frustrating as far as Turkington's concerned, and there you can see the gap has fallen back yet again. Turkington now trailing the leader by 1.3 seconds, and Ivan Muller and Cortals there in 6, and just looking a little bit further back, you then have Huff and Prio. Just briefly, David, when it comes to having maximum points available for race 2, do you think that hampers the progress in race 1? Do you think there should be less points available, as we've seen in other series, for the second race? What's your opinion?
Definitely not. No, the same points for both races. You just got to work very hard in both of them. You can win both races. It has been done. It was done by James Thompson earlier this year. So no, same points both races.
I just wonder if a driver's in position 7 and 8, whether they just think, well, I'll just hang around here. Just a little part of them doesn't actually push it to get any further up.
Believe me, these are racing drivers. There's nothing they would like more than to move further to that grid, irrespective of where they are. Every point counts in this championship. For the last 2 years, the championship has been won by 1 point only. So, you know, even if you're Andy Prio in 8th place, he would very much like to be 7th. If he could have 2 points out of this rather than 1 point, he will take it without doubt.
Maybe this time for the young man who is visiting here, Colin Turkington. He's having a look again, but Jenny is such a wise old fox here. Just watch Jenny slow right down. He's had a look on the inside again. Well, what can you do? He's tried every which way here so far, and already he's having to back out yet again. Almost every time he does that, Jenny closes the door on him. He backs off, and look, Ivan Muller suddenly starts thinking, there's a piece of cake here that I might feast upon any moment now. Willie managed to get back. We'll wait and see. Huff suddenly as well starts pushing Cortals here, and Prio joining the party as well. The lead 8 really starting to stretch out here, David.
They really are sort of nose to tail all the time now, unfortunately. Oh, we have got the car out. The car did race. There we are. I told you they'd fix it in time, even with an engine change. Massimo Pedadla, with the incident this morning which damaged the front of his car, had to repair that and change an engine. The mechanics working miracles out there doing the amount of work they had to do have got the car out and into the race. The more laps he can do, the less he will be at the back of the grid, because don't forget, we've got a couple of cars already off on the first lap into the gravel, so they'll be at the back of the grid. So if he can do more than what they've done, then at least he'll be a little bit further up than what they are on the grid, and they're just out there shaking the car to make sure it works. But across the line again, Alan Menu, no mistakes from Menu. James Thompson chasing him all the time, knows he wants to get past, can't do very much about it. Cars very, very evenly matched. Third place, Jordi Genet, very much holding up the new guy, Colin Turkington, who's here just this weekend, and right behind that the other diesel Seat, which belongs to Ivan Muller.
Once again, Genet just gets it a little bit wide. He's not concerned about that. He's following exactly the same line as he had done both times previously, and Turkington just goes a little bit wider this time, tried to get him around the outside, and I think he might have got a little bit of a slingshot there off Surtees. Just having a look back at Andy Prio from Rob Huff's car here, a little reverse cam, lovely view for you. And there, well, as you can see, Turkington didn't manage to make it stick down Pilgrim's drop towards Hawthorne. And away they go as well, continuing as they are, all strung out for now. But you just feel, well, perhaps right up front here, James Thompson is going to make something of a lunge. He's got to have a crack here, because David, he's starting to run out of laps.
Yes, they are. There's 4 laps left, but believe me, you know, it only makes one small mistake by the guy in front, and James Thompson will just throw his car down the inside, round the outside, whatever it takes to get himself there, and he will try and take that lead away from Alan Menu. But Alan Menu having to drive a fantastic race, just absolutely dead on straight, braking in the right place every time, not making any mistakes at all, because the slightest mistake, and believe me, that Alfa Romeo of James Thompson will be passed. Third place, Jordi Genet still hanging in there. Colin Turkington, fantastic race by Colin, showing that he has the pace greater than that of Ivan Muller. Can leave Ivan, catch Jordi Genet up, but getting past, as we said earlier.
Oh, and he's having a look round the
difficult.
top of Druids, having a look, and he's so very close as they come down Graham Hill. And this is amazing work by Turkington. I can't see him getting away by here because Genet seems to be wise to everything he's done. He's tried a different strategy, attacking him earlier on. He's tried attacking him later. He just can't get by, and they're so close together here. Absolutely locked together, but can he do it now? Once they get through Surtees, down Pilgrims. Any chance? No chance. Look at that. Unbelievable. There's the attempt at the top of Druids. Couldn't make it stick. So much going on, so much happening. They're holding position though, but it really is a game of cat and mouse. They've extended this one by 2 laps due to a safety car that came out early on today. We had 2 cars in the gravel, Larini and Krylov, taking no further part in this race. They parked the cars reasonably safely, safe enough clearly to continue, but they decided to just add the couple of laps back on, and thank goodness for that. This is Rob Huff at the moment, chasing down Cortels, the privateer, who's had a tremendous weekend as well himself. Let's not forget about that. Probably the most disappointed man out there surely had to be Thiago Monteiro, I have to say, right at the beginning, David.
Yes, for some reason he pulled off the pitch before he even took the start line and went straight in. Came out 1 lap down, unfortunately, but he's running round at the back, and there's not a great deal you can do about that. But the championship positions, the top 3 people in the championship positions, only one of them and there's a point scoring position at the moment, and that's Andy Priaulx. He's in 8th place, getting 1 point for his championship. That's all that's happening at the moment. The other 2, Augusto Farfus down 11th, and the guy who had come together at the very beginning of the race, now in 14th place, Jürgen Muller, not scoring.
James Thompson just drifts a little bit wide, ever so slightly on the approach to Surtees. A little bit of a puff of smoke, as you can see. And Genet, once again, it's the same old story between him and Colin Turkington. Genet getting the jump on him right at the beginning of this race, and they've held station for now. The lights are ablaze on the Alfa Romeo. James Thompson feels he should be out in front, and you've got the feeling that if he was, he might have just dropped the field a little bit, you have to say, because it's so controlled was he in the Alfa, believing that the car is completely sorted for this track, Brands Hatch, which is such a difficult one to actually get hold of. It wiggles like a serpent all over the place. Thankfully, we haven't had any more incidents except from the opening lap where we beached 2 cars. Since then, it's been full on out there, and they're all holding spot now. Rob Huff having a look, and Andy Priaulx is just waiting to see what Huff does here, because if Huff gets into Cortels, it'll be Priaulx, believe me, who benefits here tremendously. 14 of the 16 in this slightly extended race completed. We're running out of laps for anyone to make any movement now, but I feel that James Thompson might be thinking about it, as just as we say that, Colin Turkington kind of just settles in to his spot here.
Yeah, Colin very much hanging in there. He can really get through the corners very well. What he struggles with is the pace of the Seats on the straight, these diesel TDI Seats Leons, and when it comes to the straight, they do actually pull away. They've got so much more torque out of a corner, so he can't do anything with them down the straight. He can catch them, he can break up to them, but not do anything else. Rob Huff is past Pierre-Yves Cortals. We missed out what happened, and there's Andy Priaulx now looking to do exactly the same thing. As I said to you, he would like those 2 points rather than 1 point for 7th rather than 8th, but catching them now behind is car number 5, Patero, with the Seat Italia BMW hanging on there in 9th place, seeing there's an opportunity to really battle for the last point in the first race.
Well, you know what? I don't think James Thompson is going to risk throwing it away by having a crack at Aluminium. We may be wrong as they come back around to cross in front of us. Rob Huff, absolutely superb stuff by Rob. He's got by Cortals into 6th spot, and there is the moment he did it. And Priaulx also thought about it. Cortals slamming the door, Priaulx switching over, trying to make it stick, coming down off Graham Hill, didn't quite make it, and well, I think it may well be positions held now. Oh, look at that, not a bit of it. Andy Priaulx still very much on it and getting a little bit wide as Turkington gets into it here. Superb stuff by Turkington. What can you say, David?
Somewhere or another he's managed to get past him. We didn't see how, but he's gone past Genet, and Ivan Muller is now going past Genet. Now I understand why Yvan Muller's gone past Genet, but not sure exactly why Genet let Turkington go through. I'll take an educated guess, but it is the last lap, and Yvan Muller in the championship needs championship points, because he is currently 4th in the championship, right behind the 3 BMWs. He needs a maximum number of points. Now then, Colin Turkington does not score points, so to all intents and purposes, Yvan Muller is now 3rd in this race as far as points go. 10-8, 6 points he will get for that 3rd position. That is more than anybody else in front of him in the championship. So Genet has done what he's been asked to do: move over. Colin Turkington was just a bit of an irritation. They'd let him go into 3rd place overall.
With Andy Prio having a look here as well, David. Carry on.
And because of that, Yvan Muller now has the best possible points scoring opportunity for the SEAT Championship. So we have got Brands Hatch, Monza and Macau only left. So from now on, obviously, all the SEAT guys will be trying to help Yvan Muller wherever possible to score as many points and get up to those first 3 in the championship, 3 BMWs of Auguste Farfus, Andy Prio and Jörg Muller. So that's what's happened there. But look at Colin Turkington really nailed down to the back of James Thompson. He wants to win this race. He's not worrying about points like the rest of them are. He's there for it.
Well, he is. And watch this coming round as they do around the Clark curve. They've gone through clearways onto Clark now and onto the start-finish straight. And the checkered flag falls upon Alamanu. Superb stuff. Can't quite hold off or can't quite make any further advance, Colin Turkington. But what a race he had. James Thompson holding on for that 2nd spot. More than holding on. He was clearly looked to be in a very, very quick car. He's going to have work to do out there when it comes to the 2nd race. Of course, the lead 9 cars, it will be inverted, and that is due to the guest car Colin Turkington finishing amongst the lead 8. Normally it's 8 reversed. It will be 9 because of because Turkington as guest driver. But what a guest driver we've had. He will have done himself no harm whatsoever about waving his own flag, and of course the RAC boys will be very, very pleased as well that the bright orange machine has come through into a virtual podium, as it were, albeit he is of course not points scoring, so won't appear there. Well, what an opening race we've had here, and it's all about championship points at this juncture in the season, naturally enough. We're at Brands Hatch, it's Monza next up, and then the grand finale in Macau, of course. It's hard work, you've got to keep it focused, and for the time being at least, SEAT and Alfa Romeo starting to make just claw back ever so slightly on BMW's lead in the championship. And it's all the better for us viewing at home. It makes for great racing, most certainly, right to the end of the season. What a climax we're in for. So Alamanu lights up the lanterns, and quite rightly so, gives the cameraman a little bit of a flash there in recognition. Super job. What a great result it is for Chevrolet as well. Super run. They've been there or thereabouts for a while, and now they're back in on top of the podium. Alamanu will be top of the podium. An absolutely perfect race for him, and a perfect race weekend it seems, and Colin Turkington is right here as well on the virtual podium. I'm still not sure whether he will or will not take the podium spot, actually stand up there. I'm getting the thumbs up from David Leslie. He will be standing there. However, they will be reversing the top 9 for race 2, because he is a transparent visitor to this event, albeit a racer in the British Touring Car Championships, where he's currently 5th in the championship, but clearly thinking about his future with the World Touring Cars and perhaps beyond. We will wait and see. So we are going down to speak to Alamanu, race winner. What a weekend he's had. He'll be talking to us in English as well, which is handy. Here he is.
Alamanu, last year you celebrated the first victory for Chevrolet here. What a kind of great thing to celebrate this anniversary.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, but the car was really good today. I mean, the Chevrolet was fantastic, and you know what Chevrolet and RML have done for us this year for the whole project has been just amazing, and I think we've proved it all the way through the year and again today. But having said that, Tomo was close behind, so I could not relax at all for the whole race. So it was quite a tough one, but I'm so pleased for myself, but also for everyone at Chevrolet.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
His 4th win of the season, Alamanu. Well done for him. victorious in Zandvoort, in Po and Porto as well, all in the opening feature races. And he is once again his 4th win of the season. It's a tremendous record, and he's done it at Brands Hatch, one of his favourite circuits. Says it's his home track. He drove it like it was today. There it is, victorious ahead of James Thompson. Chevrolet ahead of the Alfa Romeo of James Thompson. Colin Turkington's visiting a BMW with that sequential gearbox, which has put him out of the points. He will be a transparent vehicle, finishing in 3rd place today ahead of Ivan Muller and Jenny, who got such a tremendous start. Rob Huff finishing in 6th place ahead of Andy Prio, who will be starting on the front row of the grid after passing Cortals, who will be on pole. Actually, he won't, because they're spinning the top 9. It'll be Portero who is on pole. We're spinning 9 for race 2, inverting the first 9 as opposed to the usual 8 because of the inclusion of Colin Turkington, the visitor here in the transparent vehicle. So there is the championship confirmation of how those points shape up. It's so close up there. Andy Prio on 71 points, Farfus on 69, Jörg Muller on 63, Ivan Muller on 62, but look at that, Alain Menu up there as well in 5th spot on 55 points, tying with James Thompson at the moment. It's great to see a mix, and it's not all going to be about BMW towards the run of the season. They will surely feature, but the other manufacturers are certainly clawing back at them, and it's going to be one heck of a finale as we run to Macau. We've got Monza, of course, and Macau still to come. We also have a World Touring Car Championship race 2 to come right here. So do stay with us and enjoy it on this very busy weekend at Brands Hatch. Well, national anthem's complete, albeit I think it sounded like the tape was going backwards, to be honest. There we have it, and Alain Menu has taken it for himself and Switzerland, and of course the locale and the people of Oxford. Great cheer for Colin Turkington, finishing 3rd in this race, and because of his efforts as the guest driver, as James Thompson also, because of Turkington's efforts, the lead 9 cars will be turned around for race 2. Look at that, Alain Menu knows he's had a good day. That fabulously cheesy grin that we've seen so often this season is back on display again. His 4th victory of the season, Alain Menu. Tremendous effort. And the privateer Cortals also getting an immense cheer here. Great to see. They know their motorsport. The fans know it very much. There's a lot of good knowledge about it here, David, and they've had a treat here, haven't they?
They have. That was a fantastic race, with 20 odd cars out there, all being just so quick, nose to tail. And the first 8 cars, or the first 9 cars when Pitero got onto the back of that list at the end, were just sort of nose to tail all the way through the race. And it just shows you how equally these cars are, how consistent they are. And you've got all the manufacturers up there. You have got on the top podium, you've got Chevrolet, you've got Alfa Romeo, you've got RA's BMW with Colin Turkington, and right behind that you've got the independent with Perry Cortals.